Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to Compass Games Live. It's session number 76, and it's Thursday, May 26th. Pleasure to have you here. I hope you're gearing up for the weekend, and let's go ahead and get started. Let's get right into it. So what I want to do first is give you a quick project pipeline update. So let me just make this view a little bit bigger. And again, we're just going to focus here on the left side. Left column is where we have upcoming titles. So our recent release was Russian Campaign. So again, we did cover this last week with Bill Thomas, but you'll see here the schedule is we've got Enemy Action Kharkov, which will ship next. Thanks for a great Kickstarter campaign for those that participated in that. And of course, many people did the direct pre-order as well. So thank you for that. And then right now, we'll talk a little bit more about Paper Wars here in a moment. That's going to be the next game or next magazine issue that will ship after Enemy Action Kharkov. And again, the full list of games you'll see here along the left column. What we generally do is we just provide an order of what games will be coming out when. We don't put dates on it, but you can get a pretty good guesstimate on dates because we're averaging 2 new releases per month. There might be exceptions. It could be 3. And also we don't count restocks or reprints. So we're not going to show a restock or a reprint as a quote unquote new release in our pipeline. That's just going to happen. And that's something I'll probably cover here in a moment when we review the newsletter that was sent out earlier today for those that are current subscribers to our newsletter. But again, it's on the homepage. We got away from, I received feedback from our website, which is you can actually see where you can leave feedback. Actually, we have a little bell with it has the number 1 because I have an alert I haven't read yet, but you can provide feedback to any of our news alerts. And somebody asked, you need to give more dates on your pre-orders. And yeah, the answer to that is we don't do dates. We just show you the schedule of what's coming next from our homepage. So that's pretty much what we do. We tried to do dates before, but you know, the dates changed so much, it just didn't make much sense. So we're just going to focus on the order, like the order of battle appearance you have for games. We're just going to show you the order of appearance and might change here or there, but you got a pretty good idea for the next few months what's going to happen. And then you can see the cadence with 2 games per month on average. You have a really clear idea of what games are going to be coming out in which month if you just look at the schedule. So it's pretty straightforward, but it gives us some added flexibility as well as far as deciding on specific dates for release. But as you may have noticed from my announcement today, I put out a call for any VIP guests. Anybody can be a VIP guest, by the way. You could be a VIP guest. It's a matter of you having a good video camera, hopefully better than what Bill has, of course, right? And then just a good audio device so we can hear you clearly. So we had 2 people who picked up the call to action, and really, to be fair, one really isn't. Technically not a VIP guest because Brittany is helping us a lot these days, and we're going to talk with Brittany quite a bit, just her background and what she's doing for Compass Games. She's been a great help to us. You've probably seen her on Facebook or social media. So with that being said, and without further ado, let's bring in Brittany. How are you doing, Brittany?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good to have you here. And then why don't you tell everybody where you're based out of so everybody knows where you're dialing in from?
Coming in from Reading, Connecticut.
Okay, Connecticut, not far from Bill. Probably not too far from the Compass Games headquarters, I guess.
Nope, I went over there a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, and I know, so since you've attended Compass Expo, I know last year. Was that your first one? Was it last year?
Yeah.
And then, so I've got to ask, yes, the obvious question. I even forewarned you about this, but I do it with designers. To be fair, I do it with every designer and every person I talk to. So I'll just ask the standard question. How did you become introduced to the hobby, wargaming in particular?
So I was both a cheerleader and the secretary of our Dungeons and Dragons club in high school. So I'm very good at making my nerd voice heard. So I ended up going from Dungeons and Dragons over to Warhammer 40K, and I was a competitive 40K player for a couple of years.
Wow! Oh, competitive. What's competitive mean? Is there like a
tournaments?
Tournament. There's a lot of in person, or are there any remote based? With COVID and all that.
Mostly in person. Yeah, you can play it on Vassal, but there's like so much dimensionality. It's just a pain in the butt.
What was your best result?
I actually went 3-0 in one tournament at Adepticon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was like one of the side tournaments.
So you've got some street cred. You've got some street cred, basically.
A little bit. And then in college, I worked at the Dragon's Den in Poughkeepsie. which is a game store. I managed
Okay.
a bunch of events. I managed all of their like Living Forgotten Realms, all of their 40K events. And they had a really strong Flames of War community.
Oh yeah, the miniatures. That's really popular. I've seen people do it, and I haven't had the wallet size to get into it, unfortunately. But it's really, yeah. What did you think of that at all? The miniatures?
I played it a few times and I liked it, but I already had, I think anybody who plays miniature games has a giant pile of things to paint, and I don't want to paint really, really tiny things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that naturally brought me over to Hex and Counter War games where I don't have to paint anything.
That makes sense. So how so did you make this? So I guess you had stock. Was there a stock of war games then at the game store where you were
Yeah,
working?
mostly the miniature stuff.
Okay.
I go
Flames
over
of War.
to
Yeah.
yeah, the Portal in Connecticut. They have a really good wargaming selection for
Okay.
our kind of games.
So, do you have any favorite games? So, as far as that introduction, where you decided, okay, I'm going to try a war game. Is there any favorite experience you had, or one that said, okay, I sort of like this. This sort of appeals to me outside of D&D and all that. I was wondering what did you like? What games did you like that you were starting out with?
I think Silent Victory is. It's been a couple years since I started, but that was kind of my favorite. And it was during the pandemic when I couldn't get together with any of my friends and play any other games. And I kind of just fell really hard for the solo wargaming side of things. And then Here I Stand for when you have a whole bunch of different people. But I think one of my favorites is the War Pacific because, I mean,
Oh yeah, that one just came out. That's pretty recent, actually, from Ernest
I
Copley.
know
Then.
it's not one of my early ones, but that was actually what I went to Expo to play last year. But then we
Ah.
didn't end up being able to play.
Yeah, and I think Ernie didn't make it. I want to say he wasn't there. I think he had to pull out at the last second last year. He signed up already for Expo. We're going to talk about expos and all that, but I just want to make sure people will get mad at me here as a guest if I don't properly introduce you and let them get to know you better. What was your favorite part about Expo, Compass Expo? Because that was your first one, and we're always looking, obviously, to improve it. That's now one of your official tasks is to help Compass with the event, how we can improve it. What was there any particular part you really liked about? Because I know you've done a lot of conventions before.
I really like that you could just meet with the designers and try out new games that haven't come out yet. I think that's something you don't really get to do a lot at bigger conventions. You don't get the one-on-one time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's put you to work if you don't mind. I mean, you're a guest, but I feel guilty here. But I'm going to put you to work a little bit because what I want to do is I want to walk through with you. I want to walk through the newsletter and let everybody know what's happening. So just to do a quick flyby here. So I know people can't probably read the screen. It's a little smaller type, but that's because we're going to talk through it, and then we can focus in on certain areas. And maybe we can start with this one, Brittany, because you oversee all of our Kickstarter programs for Compass. So natural fit for you to just take it from here. Maybe I'll jump on the Kickstarter page when you want and also show the rules for this game. But yeah, why don't you tell them about the new Kickstarter that launched today?
Absolutely. So Paper Wars 101 K-Scaled. It's an alternate history mini monster. There are actually a ton of great articles that I'm really excited about too. I think the Kickstarter page for most of our games really focuses on the game mechanics, but you're going to want to buy this one for the articles too. If we go
And
over
that's something you've added because obviously with Bill and who we were and limited bandwidth, we never did any articles. I don't think we even answered any comments or we just put it on Kickstarter and we did the high five. Oh, we're done, So you've taken it up a level like to 11 on the needle of a 10, I guess. So definitely update. When do you think the first update will be coming for this?
First update will be tomorrow. It's going to be a rundown of all the different add-ons that are available on the campaign, there are quite a few. I think 5.
Yes, there are. There are 5 add-ons, and I know they're mentioned in the newsletter, but maybe I can scroll down just so everybody can see what the add-ons are. What we try to do is find similar game theme topics. Yeah, I'll have to zoom in here. This is way too small. But you can see here, hopefully, these are the titles right here. Brittany, I can highlight that we have. Looks like we've got 4 titles.
Yep, 4, and then you can add extra copies of K-Scaled in case you have multiple people like that play in the same area as you that want copies, and then you can save on shipping.
Yeah, that's I think the big difference here is I think people ask what happens if it's an add-on? Does that actually benefit me? But I think you just answered that question. It's that you'll save a little bit on shipping if you sort of combine everything through this Kickstarter. Is basically the little added bonus you'll get. if I'm not mistaken. And then for those that are interested, you have to actually scroll down. Typically, we show the rules link. You can actually see the rules cover probably up here. So here's the rules, but we didn't actually do a hotspot link. Just so everybody knows, we do have rules you can check out. Just scroll again where Brittany was talking about the add-ons. And again, here's the index. Here's all the articles also included in Paper Wars 101. But you can see here it's pretty clear. It's pretty loud text. You can check out the full rules here, and it's 16 pages of rules. So this is where you'll be taken to the rules for Case Guild, which is part of Paper Wars 101. And we've got a little download link. Just look for the upper left-hand corner where my little highlight is right now, and you can do a PDF download. Everybody wants a PDF download these days, and it's absolutely available. This is just an on-screen viewer. But again, 16 pages by Ty Bomba. I was actually going to surprise you, Brittany. I was going to have Ty Bomba and everybody else. I was hoping to have Ty Bomba on tonight to talk a little bit about the game, but he's had some treatment done to his eyes for his vision. So he wouldn't be able to see anything. So I don't think that would be fair to him. I'm gonna do an interview with Ty when his eyes have settled a little bit from his treatment. So again, just want everybody to know the rules are posted for everybody. And we're excited about the Kickstarter, absolutely. And again, it looks like participation is we're almost up to 50 backers already. So that's really good news.
Yep. And there's the American Tank Ace Designers Deep Dive, which I'm super excited about because I tried that out at Expo last year. I didn't actually get to try out Maori. I went the entire weekend on Starkweather Games, but I'm excited to read more about that one.
Yeah, we got the Folded Gap. Looks like a designer response from Adam right there. Triumph of the Will, which is another, I believe that's a Ty Bomba game. I hope I didn't get that wrong. I'll have to double check. I'm guessing there a little bit. But yeah, there's American Tank Ace Designer Deep Dive by Gregory Smith. And a lot of different articles, actually. So that looks great. So yeah, we're excited that Paper Wars will be shipping soon. So let's go back. So I think that's a pretty good introduction overview. So there'll be more updates coming for the Kickstarter. And then the Kickstarter, how many days does it last? I know it actually...
This one's really short. I think it's only 6 days.
I think it actually... Yeah, I should just show it. I think at the very top of the page, it should show the duration, I believe. So 5 days to go. Okay, so it's gonna be a quick campaign. So there we go. We're not messing around. Okay, so that was a little bit about the Kickstarter, and thanks again for all you're doing for Kickstarters. I know you're always looking for asking people for input, like on the Facebook Compass Games Enthusiast group, which is great. We also have a special offer that you came up with, so maybe you can sort of walk people through what this is all about, because this even applies to those already receiving the newsletter that are already subscribed. So maybe you can sort of explain what this is all about.
Absolutely. So we were going through the mailing list when I first joined the Compass team, and we realized that nothing's really partitioned based on your interests. So you're getting the email that everybody gets, the newsletter, but you could be getting more specific ones on games that we think you'd really, really like. So we had people go through this little form here, and all you do is you check boxes for different eras that you're interested in, and then you get a 25% off coupon for any of those 6 games. You could buy all 6 if you want.
Yeah, so here it is right here. So yeah, you're ready. So those that are already subscribed to the newsletter, just re-enter your information, because what we're really after is finding out what interests you have. And then once you hit the subscribe button, so if you're a current subscriber, you'll just be doing an update of your profile. You'll get that coupon code that Brittany mentioned. So it's a pretty straightforward process. So we actually have some questions that have snuck through here. Brian's commenting on what you said about the War of the Pacific. He's a fan of another bigger Pacific game, which is SPI's War in the Pacific. That's a really great game, Brian. I'm a big fan of SPI as well, and there was a really cool newsletter somebody did who unfortunately passed away years ago called The Road to Tokyo that did really in-depth articles and add-ons for War in the Pacific, Brian. So if you get a chance to look for The Road to Tokyo and can find it, that would be awesome. Let's see, other questions here. What articles? So good question, Thomas. So what articles are available? I would definitely direct you back to our Kickstarter page for Paper Wars, because as I was briefly showing, and I will just scroll down again, we do have an article table of contents right here. So again, you can see every article that's in issue 101. And there's also a subscription, by the way. There's a subscription opportunity available. You can get issues 101 through 104. You can subscribe directly from our website. So thanks for your question, Thomas. I hope that answers that question for you. Let's see here. What other questions we might have? Ken Legg says, hello. Nice to see you finally. That was the whole idea.
Hi, Ken.
And you'll always have VIP status, of course. Me, I always have janitor status. I have not been able to get out of janitor status with Bill, but you'll always have, you'll always have VIP status. Is the game print and play? So, good question. I think this is about the question about what's included in Paper Wars. I'm guessing here a little bit, Emery, so correct me if I'm wrong. But it's as you'll see from the Kickstarter page, it's a full game. It's just included in Paper Wars, much like, say, Strategy and Tactics magazine, or in the old days, Ty Bamba had Command magazine, and he's helping us with Paper Wars now. So you'll get a full game. It's actually got 2 maps in it, as Brittany mentioned. So it's like a mini monster game. It's got 2 full maps in it, counter sheet, and again, it's rules, which are the rules are basically in the magazine you can pull out. So it is not a print and play. It's got fully die cut mounted counters. And components similar to what you would expect from our box games. It's just in a magazine. Let's see here. Other questions. Just want to make sure. Oh, good question here from Matt. Does Paper Wars magazine count as one of the monthly board game releases? I think an accurate, fair, safe answer would be it depends what Bill feels like for that month. Brittany, is that a fair? That's probably a politically correct answer, which is not a non-answer. So I'd say Bill would probably be inclined to throw in a third release if there was a Paper Wars issue. Not to say that we're not excited about Paper Wars, but yeah, it's not the same as a box game, obviously. So Bill might play an audible if there's a Paper Wars issue, but it's completely his call. That's why we have Bill next week for the town halls, so we can ask him those questions for sure. And yes, there was an add-on article as well, as you probably saw from the index. So that's definitely included in the issue. Let's see. Just want to make sure I'm caught up in questions here, Brittany, before we move on. Let's see here. Lots of comments, that's for sure. Okay, so somebody's updating their subscription, so they'll get a coupon code. That's awesome. Question for you, Brittany, is how many war games have you played? Solitaire, face-to-face, whatever.
Well,
dabbling with rules.
I've got 7 in here, and my wargaming room is actually upstairs with another probably 10 to 15.
And did you say your favorite was the War? And you said that your favorite was it the War of the Pacific's your favorite, or?
So my 2 Compass favorites are on opposite ends of the spectrum. So one is the War of the Pacific with about 200 pages of rules, and the other is Attrition of Souls with 15 pages of rules.
I was going to say, if you got into Silent Victory as one of your first games, oh my God, that's like... Okay, that's like a thick rule booklet, I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't have the box handy, but I think it's a pretty detailed game that takes a long time to play, Solitaire. It's not like it's not like a Gregory Smith game that you're going to just get in and out of in maybe a few hours. So, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Don says again, huge asset to Compass, so great to have you involved. How do we send feedback to you directly? And he's being very proper using a Miss McFadden there. Notice that, although the spelling is a little off, so we'll have to give him
Oh, I have a Compass Games email that you're welcome to use. It's community@compassgames.com.
Oh, okay. So I will have to, let me just type that out for everybody. community@compassgames.com. Just, I'll share this hopefully on both channels. So I just posted that. Hopefully it works on Facebook here. Last time they said no. So I've just posted for everybody on the chat. Sorry, I don't have a banner with it. I'll do that next episode. But just put the word community in the front of compassgames.com and you will be all set. Let's see here. Okay, and let's see. Also, Edward's asking a question about the coupon. Does it apply to any games other than what's shown in the newsletter?
It's exactly what's shown in the newsletter. And I saw your other question, Edward. Yes, you can keep going back and updating your preferences whenever you want.
Perfect. Okay, thanks for that. Let's see. Yes, okay, Eagle in the Sun, thank you for the update on Road to Tokyo for the recommendation. I appreciate that. Greg says Silent Victory wasn't hard to play. Oh, Silent Victory. Well, I'm not talking about Greg's Silent Victory. I'm talking about...
Oh, I'm talking about Greg's Silent Victory.
Oh, you're talking about Greg's. Oh, I got confused. I thought you were...
It is very quick to play.
I'm sorry. I was thinking I thought you said Silent War. Okay, see, I got confused with Silent War.
Got it.
So Silent Victory, of course. Okay, so that, yeah, makes sense. Makes total sense. Perfect. And Attrition of Souls. Yep, there you go. Greg got me clarified.
My friends to do. I'm the only war gamer around here.
Yep, there you go. And thanks, Ed. Thanks everybody for clarifying that. I jumped to Silent War when I heard Silent, so that's my bad there. Obviously, Silent Victory. Let's see. And then Jim's talking about some other SPI games that are classics as well. These are the old games from the 70s. And then right here for you from Jason, with your 40 Key in Flames experience, I think you'd enjoy Combat Volume 1 and 2, which is Solitaire. So that's a good suggestion, I think, from Jason for sure. Absolutely. And Greg did have his honor defended for sure. Absolutely. You'll probably do some playtesting of Greg's games at Campus Expo, right?
I did Tank Ace last year. I'm going to
You
do
did Tank Ace with him.
this year.
How did you do the training? Did you go through the training school?
I did. I love that. I told him I need that for the submarine games.
There you go. Perfect. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. That's a really good idea. And as Gimpy Gamer says, yeah, all of Greg's games are good to go. And Gimpy, you should be getting Enemy Action Kharkov soon. We're going to talk about that here in a second because I know you're waiting for that game. So going back here, okay, so we've covered the subscription. Yes, Russian campaign has been shipping for some time. There's some great posts, by the way, up on the Compass Games Enthusiast group. So you can see here, if you scroll down, and you'll have to scroll quite a bit. So here's some correction counters we have right here for, I want to say this is for NATO. Yeah, NATO. So there's the correction counters, and there was 2 stickers for the map. So a lot of people have gotten that. Imperial Tide, speaking of Gregory Smith and protecting his honor, there's a Gregory Smith game, which is actually could be a 2-player game as well. There's our Kickstarter announcement. But as you scroll down, and I'm going to have to scroll a little bit here. Oh, Kid, you mentioned something about World Board Gaming Championship for everybody.
Oh, yep, we are going. I know Bill kind of buried the lead. He said it after the giveaway winner last week, so I think a lot of people missed it. So I went into Enthusiast and just made an event. It's got awesome. All the details and a link to the resort where it's happening. Thanks
for doing that. I know Bill can't make it, but we'll have 2 other staff members will be down, so that's awesome. Are you attending Incognito or part of Compass? Are you going to be going at all to World Board Gaming? Nope. Going to skip it out? Going to skip it? Okay. So here's some information right here about Russian campaign. So Art Lupinacci, who's helping us with some projects, he's put together one of these perfect setup type articles to challenge people to come up with their response to it. So there's a lot of posts you'll find on the Compass Games Enthusiast page. So just since we're mentioning the Russian campaign new release, just wanted to give a shout out to Art Lupinacci for the great job he's done. Also, I believe it's going to be a featured article in a future episode, future issue of Paper Wars as well. So a lot of cool things going on around Russian campaign, and thanks Art for doing that. You want to mention anything else about Compass Games Expo? I know we're up to 31 registered attendees now. And I think you said seminars is a big draw, so we're looking to perhaps do more around seminars this year.
Seminars would be great. All the designer demos. I think it's just great how I scheduled my entire weekend to play the War Pacific. It's a big game. And when that dropped out at the last minute, and people just kept pulling me into different games, and Adam Starkweather essentially adopted me for the weekend. So I played all of his games. I just think you should go, even if you don't know anybody else there. Even if you don't know what you're going to play, just go. It's $50. The hotel has everything you need. You get free breakfast. You don't have to drive anywhere. It's just a whole weekend of do your favorite thing.
Exactly. That's the whole point of it. So enjoy yourself, to take a break from real life pressures and all that, and have fun gaming. So that pretty much covers. Upcoming releases. I almost let this slip by, especially for Gimpy Gamer, because I know he's waiting for Enemy Action Kharkov. So it's a little hard to see on screen, but we did add a specific ship date for Enemy Action Kharkov, which is our next release. It is going to start shipping on June 10th. So not long from now, maybe call it 2 weeks from now, it will begin shipping. So I know lots of folks are looking forward to Enemy Action Kharkov. And then, of course, after that, with the current Kickstarter campaign going on right now, we'll have Paper Wars 101 will be the next release. So, and then game restock alerts, we won't really post these on the homepage as far as a new release schedule. It's just something that will get inserted, or it will just become available again from the website where you can order direct. But again, this has actually been for some time now. We have all these games back in stock. I should have updated NATO. NATO has actually been shipping for a few weeks now. So all these 4 titles right here are back in stock from Compass Games. But again, they're not going to show up on a release schedule because it's basically a restocking. And I did mention for those, if you're just finding out about Paper Wars tonight, about K-Scaled, as Brittany's covered the Kickstarter campaign that launched today, there's also an opportunity to save quite a bit of money, I should add. You can get a whole Paper Wars subscription as well. So you've got the Kickstarter, which is a great opportunity, and there's also a subscription play you can make. So we always want to point out the subscription for everybody, because of all the game support you'll get over the next year plus of our magazine releases. So definitely check that out. And then just to close things out, we have all our Vassal modules. There's a link again to the Vassal page for our module library for Compass Games. Be sure to check that out. We've got our videos on all supporting all games that have been released. So there's a link for that. We talked about some of our recent releases, so I'll skip past this. Again, hats off to Mark and David for having over 2,000 members now in the Compass Games Enthusiast group. I think they're averaging about 8 to 10 posts at least a day, which is awesome. And then there's now a link for our recorded session for Barbarians at the Gates. So if you have that game or want to learn more about Barbarian at the Gates, the designer, Chris Van Beurden, will take you right through the game, go through a sample turn, talk about the mechanics, and actually show the mechanics at work. It's a great way to learn the game, learn the plays, become really popular. And it's at least probably our 10th in the series, and there's going to be more coming. No update, Brittany, right now on Learn to Plays. Mo right now is in the middle of a house move. So besides work and house move and all that fun stuff, yeah, he'll be coming up for air in about another week or so. So we'll look forward to having Mo on probably in 2 weeks to talk about Learn to Play series pretty soon. And again, we're on Discord where there won't be an Applebee's Lounge meetup tonight because Mo, again, is in the middle of a move. So we're going to not be there, but you're welcome to jump into the Discord Applebee's Lounge anytime you want. And that pretty much covers it. So what did I not ask you? What did I miss for a proper introduction for you tonight? What surprised you the most now that you've been with Compass Games for a few months, just to put you on the spot so I can get in trouble? Put my janitor status at risk here. What's been the biggest surprise for you getting to know Bill better and the team at Compass Games better? Anything unexpected that you've just sort of come across?
I think I'm just amazed at the sheer amount of creativity on the team. It's a very small team, but it's very focused and there's so much energy and so much just like inspiration. You feel like you want to play every single one of these games when anybody is talking about them.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's interesting is some people said, "Oh, you must have a lot of people already, like full staff. Bill must hire a lot of people." And yeah, it's a pretty small team, like you said. So lots of stuff always going on. And then Emory, yeah, Expo is definitely a chill event. I think I think Brittany would agree with that. That's the whole point, and very flexible. You can change game decisions on the fly and all that fun stuff. So this was great, Brittany. Like I said, you're definitely VIP status with everybody here. So it was great to do an initial introduction. Hopefully we'll have you on as a more regular guest because I think it would be great to have you give more information on the Kickstarter, talk about the updates, get feedback on past Kickstarters as well. I think, anything that you think would help you as far as, there's a pretty good audience here. We got 124 live right now, which is great. So yeah, and I don't know if you have any questions now. So it's community@compassgames.com. I don't know if you can think of off the cuff, any particular ask you might have right now. If somebody was going to email you tonight, is there any one question you would have for them at all? Or do you want to save that for next time?
So I've been thinking about which era we should do next for our comparing all the different Compass games from that era. We did that on Revolutionary War, and we did that for Ancients. So we did that on Barbarians at the Gates, and it was really popular. So if you have another era you want to just get a recap of like everything that Compass does for this era, let me know.
That's a great idea. Can I put in a vote for Bill Thomas? Is that allowed? So I'm going to guess Bill would say, come on, it's got to be World War I. It's got to be. So Bill loves World War I. So I know Bill. I'm going to put Bill down for World War I. I'm getting backup, by the way, from Gary Clarkson here. So we're on the same channel here. But
Death in the Trenches coming up.
And then there's American Civil War. We've got Brothers at War, 1862 coming up. So that would be, there's another good idea from John Sy for sure on that one. Awesome. And I think John was asking earlier if I wanted to join and be a VIP guest, how could I do that? John, if you can translate this on screen, or anybody who has a little screen capture device, get ready. Okay, but don't screen capture Brittany's face. That's not fair. Be nice to her. But if you can screen capture this link, what will happen is if you type this link, this will land you in our backstage. And you'll be backstage. You won't, I don't know, you'll probably have a weird experience being the first time backstage, but I'll see you there you'll think you're lost. Not you won't notice anything, but I'll definitely see you backstage. I'll see your friendly face. And John, you are asking to join, so if you can type K322SQW3. I didn't do a Bitly link. Sorry, I just didn't have time. But if you want to take a shot at this, or if anybody wants to take a shot, screen grab that, enter it, and if I see you and we have some time, I'll let you come in for 5 minutes tonight, and you can be our impromptu VIP guest. I would love to have a impromptu VIP guest. I'll look for John Sy to see if he can make it in. But again, Brittany, it was a pleasure to.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Thanks for all you do for Compass. Thanks for what you're doing for the community. And we hope to look forward to having you on for a future episode of Compass Games Live.
Definitely.
Thanks so much. Have a good night, Brittany. Bye-bye. All righty, so let's go ahead and want to segue into a quick update of sorts, which is going to be introducing another VIP guest for tonight. And that is, we're going to focus on Beneath the Southern Cross. Now, I've talked about Beneath the Southern Cross a few times, but it's really hard to do it justice. Every time I talk about it, I then go to social media and I see a lot of the same questions like, what is it? And how's it compared to Flat Top? So to do this properly, we really should talk to the designer and ask him these burning questions. So that is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to set the record straight with the man, not the myth, Bill Cooper. Bill, great to have you here tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, John, for having me. This should be fun.
Yeah. No, hopefully not too hard to act free to follow after Brittany. I would hate to go after Brittany, just talking for myself, but you know what? Let's share with everybody something that happened recently, and this will maybe be a segue for our conversation. So what we're talking about specifically is your design, Beneath the Southern Cross. And without getting into too many details yet, because I want to show some more images, when is it safe to say you started design work? You initially started serious design work. How many years ago would you guess?
3 careers ago, back in the aughts, before pandemic was a
oh
thing.
Yeah, probably well before pandemic.
Before, but I was teaching high school, and I've always been interested in the Pacific War, and I started putting things together in 2007, 2008, and it sort of grew and developed, and I changed high school teaching jobs to Massachusetts, and then I changed to teaching at the college level at the University of Kentucky. And
oh, nice. University of Kentucky. Nice. Very nice.
And have been working on that. And I finally was at a position, I think it was the 14 Tempe Expo that I brought it out. And I'm going to be, John, you were giddy over the possibility of it. So,
oh yeah, I saw it at Console World Expo years ago. I don't know if it was I don't know what year, 2017.
14, I think, to 15 is when we started talking. So this has been in a very long-term gestation as a project, simply because I've had careers to deal with, and I still do, but I've put this in terms of my own personal gaming time. This is now front burner,
Yep.
high priority, because I'm now in a position where I've seen where we need to go and how we can get there relatively quickly. And to be honest, I just want to get it off my back.
I'm excited about it. And then Bruce, your partner in crime is Bruce Urian. He's doing the graphics with you. Sort of, you guys are tethered together, and I enjoy watching your journey together with all the graphics and design enhancements going on. So it's great to have Bruce online tonight. The map. So just so everybody knows, here's the map. It's 2 maps, right? There you go. Is that it on the wall? Okay, the same map's on the wall there. Let me zoom in to do it justice. So this is Bruce Urian's Handicraft. So I'm going to try to go a little bit bigger here so people can see it on screen. I hope that's acceptable to show it this way in the Solomons area. And you've got to answer this question for me. People always say, how's this like Flat Top? Or how's it different than Flat Top? I cannot answer that question properly. I have to have you answer it.
The short answer is it's Flat Top on steroids.
Flat Top on steroids.
If you get into the game, you will clearly see that it has its roots firmly in Flat Top in terms of a lot of the mechanics, the structure, the scale, but it's a little bit even finer, to make, and more granular. Like every ship has multiple damage factors that you get to pound on, and there are ground units, and it is a little bit of a scale in this. The hex scale just is 16.8 nautical miles per hex.
Okay.
And it includes air, land, ground. It will have a number of built-in scenarios as well as some campaigns, and I'm hoping we can create a strategic scenario, but I want to make sure that's tested. So that could end up, we'll see where that goes. But you think really scenario generators, because that's the one thing I wish Flat Top had is a scenario generator. That's where some of this comes from.
Some questions for you. So Fango, who's joining us on YouTube tonight, is guessing it's hidden movement.
There's a lot of hidden movement. There are search maps that you will plot your off-map movement. Just like Flat Top, though, if you want to search, your air formation or your task force is going to have to be on the map. Bases will be on the map, so bases can always search. Okay. But the fundamentally is if it's on the map, it can search. It's considered quote unquote spotted at a certain level because it's searching. So there will be hidden movement. It will be great for double blind. I just like the Flat Top system of hidden movement. Yes. So Fango, you're totally correct.
Okay, great. And then Bill's asking a question, who's also joined us on YouTube tonight. Yes, obviously naval, air, combat for sure, obviously, right? So yeah, is there some, because I know from Flat Top, ground combat was definitely not the focus of the game at all, to be honest.
Ground combat is not the focus of the game here, but the short answer is yes, there is. It's designed to be very attritional and very rough. For example, planes and ships move 24 times a day each hour. Mm-hmm. Ground units go once a day. So the ground system is only exercised once a day. It's not the important thing, but it's also reflecting the fact that guys on their feet don't move as far as ships or planes do during a day either.
Okay.
So there is ground combat, but it's very attrition based.
Okay, now I want to share with everybody here. So we, I think somebody mentioned in the comments too, that I was hosting Constant World Expo Dallas just about 2 weeks ago, May 12th through the 15th, and it was great to have Bill fly in to do a dedicated playtest session. You can see him here setting up. This is, I think, early on, just when you arrived, getting things ready for the playtest crew. And I think you mentioned like you got some good feedback, including it made you think a little bit about maybe some changes to the night, shortening the night phases a little bit. I think you were pondering it.
Yeah, both we play tested the Santa Cruz battle scenario, which takes place from the dark hours of October 25th through the 26th of October 42, and which is unusual in the system because most games start early morning. Most scenarios start early morning, and I realized a lot of this is roll to search and not find anything gets a little tedious after a while.
Sure.
It may reflect actuality, but it's tedious. So I think a lot of the night turns can be compacted to allow search opportunities and the right movement, and also the specific situations for Santa Cruz. Because what happened was that around 1100 or 2100 hours or so on the 25th, there were 2 PBYs over one of the Japanese task forces, which was rare, but I wanted to capture that, but I can capture it more efficiently. One of the things I also took out of this playtest is I created a mechanic, I modified a mechanic, and I rejected a mechanic in the course of the convention.
Yep. And then there's some questions here. Transports, carrier, surface ships, so far so good. I think it's all in there. All there. Absolutely. Bill's asking another good question. What about submarines in the theater?
Submarines are there. They're more as a random event determined once a day after the noon hour. they'll be built out a little bit more in the strategic situation, but there are submarines, but they're not, they're random events. Think of them that way. That's the best way to describe
And
them.
then Thomas comments on YouTube, oh, it's a big map. Actually, it's 2 maps, so it's 2 regular size maps. It's not too bad, Thomas. There's like again, War in the Pacific, which the aforementioned SPI game has 7 maps. This has only 2 maps. So, but he brings up a good point. It doesn't have to be 2 maps all the time.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. There are 2 maps, one of which is 34 by 34. That's the Western map. And then the Eastern map is 22 by 34. The Eastern map, you can do the Battle of the Eastern Solomons on. You could do just on one map. You could do Battle of Santa Cruz on. Coral Sea can be done on the Western map, and we're hoping to be able to include a smaller version of the Western map, really to focus in on the key days of Coral Sea. Of course, the big excitement is both maps doing the full Coral Sea operation, where people can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because at this time in history, they were making up a type of warfare. So you can too.
And then I wanted to point out to people, that's why I've really zoomed in here, and probably it's getting pretty granular, but it's sort of that concept that I saw Michael Resch did with his World War I games, the counter sleds. So they're like little cards, but you put counters on them, and you've got them for individual aircraft, I believe, for air bases. Well, why don't you give a quick elevator pitch on what this is all about?
The dark blue counter cards you're seeing there will be for task forces. You put all your ships on a task force on them, and then you can put them anywhere you want to. You could put them on the shelf. You can put them on the kitchen counter. You can put them on a tray table, wherever you want to. They can be away from the table. The lighter color cards that you're seeing there are a mix of the base cards, which govern carrier and airbase operations, and then the ship cards, which govern damage. But as long as the ship doesn't have damage, you can stack them all together and you have a little hand of cards. And we're working on putting the type of ship, at least, in the corner, so that you can fan it out just like a deck of cards and see what you got in task force. And then you put it aside over here. Obviously, once ships take damage or task force start operating, there's a little bit more, but the idea is to keep your table space as flexible as possible, so that you can put things on a tray table over here or on a shelf over
very
here,
flexible,
or whatever.
Yeah. And then, so more great questions tonight. So Kurt is looking for punishment. He wants a Silent Victory tie-in. So we could, you know what? Maybe we'll come up with something in Paper Wars. We'll knock your socks off.
Kurt, do not tempt me, please. I'm easy.
And then 6 actual. If you want to play the game now, you've actually got opportunities. I believe Bill will be at Compass Games Expo. Like, what's your convention schedule for this year?
My convention schedule this year right now is obviously Consom World Tempe.
Okay, in August. So Consom World Expo in August.
And Compass Games Expo in November, to really focus on specific scenarios to make sure that they make sense, that are engaging, that they're fun, and they play smoothly. It's the smooth play comes like is with Santa Cruz. We're gonna make the night turns more smooth, so that doesn't take hours to get to. Oh, it's finally daylight.
Yeah, good feedback. And then Ken, also on YouTube, said, a particular map out of the 2 could be used for given scenarios. That's part of the design process you're doing with Bruce Urian to make sure we've got that covered. Thomas is asking, is it more than just Solomon Island campaign?
It's basically the Guadalcanal. It's August 7th, 1942 until I may cut it off before the evacuation. But it also includes Coral Sea, both as a 3-day battle scenario and as a grand operation from April 30th.
That sounds great. I'm ready to play it now.
2 maps. That will be people sprawling all over the map.
I like Coral Sea.
It will be, that's the whole point of Coral Sea, is to
here's a fun question. Bill's not messing around. What about tracking fuel and ammo?
Yep.
There you go, Bill.
Yep. That was actually one of the Now I've made it more player friendly since the original design, but the task forces, you're tracking movement points during the day, and you're also tracking activity during the day, and that affects your task force fuel capacity. And for example, in Eastern Solomons, the U.S. task forces are going to start at a capacity of 12, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in the mid-teens. And 0 is you're floating in the water dead.
Gotcha.
So you're going to have to be concerned about that. And there will be fuel, ammo, very simple ammo rule, largely to reflect loadouts for, are you going to make a bombardment or are you going to fight surface combat? As simple as possible. So yes, you will be tracking fuel and ammo, but I'm trying to make it really simple until you get into the actual fight.
All right, great. I'm going to try to wrap up here because I'm going to leave about 10 minutes for John Sy and Joe Youst here, who's going to join us here in a moment. So let's wrap up with just a few more questions. So this is a key question. I think everybody's really intrigued by how search gets handled. I don't know if there's a way you can give a quick answer on this because I know it's such a critical part.
The search, if you're the search target player, you want to only reveal the information that you're supposed to reveal. So this is where it's probably least solo friendly, is that the search target player determines the results of the search. The searching player says, this search unit, this searching thing, plane, ship, task force, whatever, has a search value of X.
Right.
And the search target player resolves the rest.
Right. So you don't know how well the intelligence was, what the reports coming back, how accurate they were, because it's the target player, the search target player.
There is one search result that is you can totally lie.
Okay, I'm going to ask two more. We're going to do two more questions, and the last one I'm going to take on my own because I've seen it asked quite a bit. So Paul's asking, is there any plans for any future expansion since you've dedicated your sanity and your life to this one title? Are you ever thinking you might augment it with other things for other campaigns?
You mean like, to take a random example, Battle of Midway?
Yeah, well, I guess that's sort of Paul's question.
Yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer is, I realize this will challenge Bruce's artistic talents to come up with a sea of blue with 2 hexes with islands in them.
He can do it. He's up to the challenge.
I have full confidence in.
He can do it. And then, can you remind everybody what the time frame is for this game?
This is early May of 1942 plus August of 42 through January of 43.
All right. Well, you were an awesome VIP guest. We got to do this while you're a designer. I don't know if I can call you a guest either, but you did a great VIP job. It was because I can't answer these questions. I mean, I just direct them to you, like at a convention. Go ask Bill. He's going to know the answer. But you answered a lot of questions. I'm going to have this recorded now, so I can answer the same way.
And I'm totally shy, so I will be.
Yeah. Well, I hope people will take the opportunity to join you at Console World Expo in August or Compass Expo in November, or both conventions, so they can play the game as I was showing here. Look, it's obviously a lot of fun to play. You're a great host.
And the one thing, okay, I got to brag here. Both of the guys who played said they had a lot of fun. They knew they were doing a play test. They knew there was woodshedding going on. They knew I was printing out counters and cutting them in the middle of the.
You were working. You had your laptop going when I first saw you set up. You were hitting it hard. So that's awesome dedication.
But they said they had fun. They were engaged. That to me.
Yep.
If they were making that up, fine. They said the right thing.
Yeah. So the big question tonight is an obvious one that I would expect to get, and that is, when can we expect either the game to ship, or really the more immediate question, which is probably the one I'll address now, is when will the game be available for pre-order? So I know with Bruce, I've been following the updates. You guys are closing in. I know there's going to be some tweaks you're looking at now that might involve Bruce's expertise. But general rule of thumb for Compass is we want everything done except for the rules, because rules and proofing and layout can take a while. That can take at least 2 months, maybe, say at a minimum, especially for as the game gets bigger. But again, you spent years and you've had a lot of people going through the game, so that's an advantage you have. But we're looking at, so to answer the question is, we're looking at this summer. So I would fully expect by time of Consim World Expo that we will have made progress to the point where this is something Bill Thomas will feel comfortable putting on pre-order as a formal pre-order announcement, which basically then means I think our goal would be to get the game out within a year from that point. And that's why we changed the pre-order status. Some games had stalled, or I've got games that have stalled. And obviously that's not happening with this game, and we want to keep it that way for future games, for future pre-orders. So we know this game's not going to stall out. So we're just going to follow the 95% rule. And then the last thing, which is a Bill Thomas call, which we can talk to him about at the town hall, is he has to decide when he wants to add more pre-orders to the system because there's so many pre-orders already. But he understands this is a very unique game. It doesn't hurt that it's a sort of a mini monster or monster game, to be honest. There are advantages to that. There's benefits to for Compass for that as well. And we know a lot of you folks are waiting for the game. So again, we don't rush any games out. You know, that just doesn't happen. And we could have done a pre-order, 6-9 months ago easily if we followed our old protocol. Easily done. But we want to take it to the point where we're pretty much done with everything, and it's just rules. We're just down to the rules draft, going through final proofing, and then the layout works. So I'm expecting, Bill, if you agree, by end of August Consim World Expo, that we should be positioned to say, the components are pretty much put to bed. You've proofed them, you're happy with them, and it's really going to come down now to focusing on the rules and getting layout started.
I'm barring any major and extended.
There's always you always get an audible as a designer. You got full support from Compass. If something doesn't feel right, you can always pull an audible. That's a given because absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So barring any of the usual exceptions. I frankly would love to make that one of the announcements at Consim World Expo, as much as I know the announcements are not entirely overly popular, but you got to make some.
Worst case is 2 to 3 months later. Obviously it will be done before Compass Expo because that's not till November. Yeah. And that's well beyond that time frame. So in other words, it will be this year. I would like to see it by end of summer.
What I'll say is that based on the testing we've done, the systems work. I'm still woodshedding some of them to make them even smoother. And
that's a good idea. Nothing wrong with that. That's good.
Other than that, the systems work. And then it comes down to rules and like scenarios and setting victory conditions. And I freely admit, a lot of my idea of victory conditions are you sit down after your game and decide who won over an appropriate beverage.
Right. And then we could play it this way also. We could decide do an audible for Consim World Expo. Consider that, yes, it's all the components are done. You're going to have them all printed out. And then if you get through Consim World Expo in August with the playtest feedback that says this is locked down, then we go to the pre-order in September. Yep. If you say, no, I've got to do some things that Bruce has to tweak some art, then we push it out to before Compass Expo.
Right.
That's probably a more reasonable approach because we should take advantage of the play test you're going to have in Tempe.
And it depends upon the level of tweakitude too.
Exactly. And then Emery, just so you know, so this is just standard for Compass Games. We do start with a pre-order announcement first. So you'll see a lot of pre-orders on our website. And then what happens is just before we release a new game, we're going to do a Kickstarter campaign, which helps spread the word about the game. And then obviously with Brittany, who was on earlier, she's also providing a lot more content, I think, hopefully interesting content to you as a consumer, as a gamer, to learn more about the offering, about the game itself. That's when the rules also become available online for the first time, unless you're a playtester and you're involved in the project. So we always start with the pre-order announcement. Again, I would actually do an audible myself and say, let's do the Consim World Expo Tempe August playtest. If that passes 100%, then we do the pre-order in September, or we push it out a little bit and it will happen before November, and then the game would be released the following year. So that's pretty much the game plan we're looking at, everybody. Brian, I'm going to leave the Paper Wars article to you about the tie-in to CA from SPI. I'm happy to see that. I'm not sure how much that would add, though, because you've got, it is more tactical, I guess, CA. So I guess you are taking it into a bigger tactical zone. But this was great, Bill. So I'll give you closing remarks just to close out this session. But we're going to have you back when we do the pre-order announcement. We're going to spend a dedicated session on Beneath the Southern Cross for sure.
Cool, Brian. I'll just say the surface combat system is really a high level glorified line them up and shoot. The vague effect of maneuvering is built into some of the other items. But this is. I really, this is a big game. This is not an intro game, but I also think I'm trying to make the whole set of processes as easy as possible, including on the charts and table sheets. The process summaries are going to be in the margins on the outside of the sheets, so that you can just follow along and then move left to right. For what do I need to roll? What are the die roll modifiers? What's the table I'm looking at? What can that roll produce? So it's like, and all the charts and table sheets are about one thing on each side. So all of the search charts on one side of an 11 by 17. All of the air combat charts are on the one side of an 11 by 17, etc. So that it's all, you don't need to search stuff when you're doing air-to-air combat. So you're just looking at one piece of paper. Oh yeah, it's a big piece of paper, but you're looking at one piece of paper.
All right, people are going to get mad at me. Sorry, but we're gonna save the final questions for the pre-order announcement episode. There's a question about the components. Let me just say, when you guys see the components, you're going to be pleasantly freaking out. There is so much stuff in the game. If you think about the sleds and everything going on, the number counter sheet.
Some of you may have to worry about getting hernias when you pick up the box.
Yeah, it's going to be a hernia-driven system. We're going to call it the HDS, the Hernia-Driven System Series from Compass Games. That is Beneath the Southern Cross. Will definitely qualify, but it's going to be very playable with smaller scenarios as well. So thank you so much, Bill, for being on tonight. It was great to have you as a VIP. We'll have you on in a few months, and I'll see you in August in Tempe next.
Perfect.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All right, with that, we're going to, like I said, as I promised, and something I'd like to be able to do in the future, is it's always great to hear from you directly, to hear from our community, much like we do with the social media channels or emails or, you name it, at conventions. But I'm happy to see we have two guests we're going to be introducing tonight, and that is John Tsai and Joe Yaus. Please understand also that there's absolutely no way I can troubleshoot a video or audio connection while they're backstage, because I'm busy talking to the guest in a live broadcast. So I'm just going to roll the dice, and I'm going to introduce both John and Joe together to see how it looks as far as audio video quality. So welcome. I see John in the very top right, or Joe. John, good to see you, John. And then Joe Youst in the bottom center there. So thanks for joining tonight, guys. I appreciate it. Let's do a quick sound check. Make sure we can hear you.
Good to be here. Can you hear that?
Hello.
Hello. Let's go furthest distance first, which is John. Why don't you share with everybody, John, where you're joining us from today?
I am presently in my home office here in Manila, in the Philippines.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for thanks so much for your support at Compass, and also your critiques and feedback. Helps us do better. Absolutely. What I'd like to do is maybe just give you 5 minutes to talk about whatever you'd like to talk about, and then I'll probably close with Joe next. And I think Joe might have something he wants to share as well on screen, perhaps. So go ahead, John. What would you like to chat about tonight? And also with the community, we have 120 live members on tonight. So what would you like to chat about?
Well, no, it's not that. I just said, oh, what? No, he's looking for a guest. I'll see if I can help him.
You are the guest. So let's talk about, what would you like to talk about?
Well,
also, I'm going to give you a topic, and you're not going to like that if I force the topic on you.
No, go ahead. I don't really have much to talk about.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit how you get your games from Compass, because I know in Philippines it could be a challenge. So how does that work exactly for you?
What I do, and it's not just for Compass, but for games in general, is what I do is I have them sent to a freight forwarder in California. So as far as you're concerned, as far as anyone who sells me games is concerned,
it's a California address, right?
It's a California address in Hayward. And what happens is that they kind of get all put together in one box, in one big box. And then I pay for the box to be sent here to the Philippines. So in a sense, I'm paying for shipment twice. Yeah. But the shipment actually from California to the Philippines is actually very cheap, because I use a surface, I use a ship, a boat. So it takes a long time to get here. As a matter of fact, I'm still waiting for War for America to get here. for my copy of War for America.
Oh, yikes. Oh, yeah, it does take a while then.
No, because it's coming in the same. It's coming in the same box as Pacific War and Into the Woods, that big GMT order they had in January.
Yeah.
So I ordered that, and then I waited for War for America to come out, and so I got the big box, so I can consolidate into a big box.
That makes sense. Yeah, lower the cost and get everything together.
Right.
Yep.
So it cost me to ship from California to my home about, what is that, 7 games?
Yeah.
It cost me about $35.
Oh man, that's a deal. I'm moving.
Yeah, I mean it's an extra $7
right
to ship from California, but you have to wait a while because it is it takes the literal slow boat to China.
Brittany says hello to you both. So
Brittany,
great
hello.
to have you on. Bruce is
Yeah.
wondering what time it is for you right now.
Hello
John?
to everybody.
What time do you have,
me?
John, right now?
Oh, I'm always I'm about 12 hours ahead of Eastern time. So whatever time it is in the East, just
Yeah.
look
So
it over.
you're on the Friday already.
Yes, it's already Friday here. It's Friday morning at 9, just after 9 a.m. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And then how does it work for you, like gaming wise? Can you do face-to-face gaming? Or are you doing Vassal or Solitaire?
A little bit of both, a little bit of all of them actually. I do a lot of Vassal gaming for Combat Commander. I'm a part of the Combat Commander ladder. So sorry, I know it's not.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely, Chad. That's Chad Jensen who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, 2.5 years ago, I think.
Yes.
But great designer, great person,
Exactly.
great
Yes,
person.
I had the pleasure of meeting him and his wife, his lovely wife Kai, at Console World Expo in 2015.
Yeah, she'll be coming in. She's going to be coming in August, and I want to thank you. I believe you've attended Console World Expo in the past as well. So
3 times, yeah.
We're looking forward to welcoming Kai again. So why don't you? I'd like you to share with everybody what you do professionally, because there's a lot of college flags on the walls. It almost looks like a man cave, like all these sport teams that people are fans of. But maybe you can share with everybody what you do.
It's a little bit of what my job is. With all the pennants behind me, what I do is I'm a U.S. college admission consultant, which means that if a student, and there are quite a few students who want to take their do their college studies in the U.S., I help them, find the right school for them, right fit, and find the right, financial situation, depending on the financial situation, that sort of thing. So I do that for people, and so that's why I travel to the States when I do. I travel in the summer. I travel in the summer because that's when I'm off and when I'm going to conventions, professional conventions. So what happens normally is that in the old days when you had the Console World around the 4th of July, it would be so cool because I could actually go to a professional conference which happens in the middle of June.
Oh, pay your trip right there.
World. Yeah, go to Console World. And then go to my other convention, professional convention in the middle of July. So that would work out really well. But since did that, you moved the Console World to September, which I know.
August, it's the dates changing. Now we're in August pretty much because of the hotel fees to keep them lower.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that.
That's great.
You have to deal with the undergraduates though at Arizona State.
That's awesome. So out of all the institutions, which one do you think you have the most placement with? Can you think off the top of your head where you think you've seen the most placements that you've been involved in for students?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I went to Santa Clara in California. So
not far from where Joe Youst is, really. I think.
Joe Youst is in Northern California. Yeah. So I that's my alma mater. So it's a real popular school and a real popular place to be.
Exactly.
So I've had that. I've had success placing kids all over the United States.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for dropping in tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And then before I let you go, and you can stay on while I talk with Joe. Actually, you just stay there. I wanted to put you on the hook for Brittany's question. She's asking what military era would be good for a theme-based article that covers all Compass games covering that historical era. What would you pick for the historical era where we could compare and contrast Compass games?
I think I answered American Civil War.
American Civil War? Okay, there we go. See, I'm going to put Joe. Joe's got advanced. He's got advanced warning. I'm going to ask him the same question when we're done here. So he can prepare.
Joe and I were speaking offline. He and I have a common friend actually here in the Philippines.
Oh, awesome.
A war gaming friend here in the Philippines.
That's awesome.
So,
Well, thank
yeah.
you so much for joining us, John. And let's chat a little bit here with Joe Yaus. So Joe Yaus doesn't need an introduction for many that follow the hobby with all the designs, Goss system, most recently the Goss series through Decision Games, and just really too many games to mention. Go to Board Game Geek and see all the bloody games, for example.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for dropping in tonight, Joe. Also, I hope you don't mind if I could mention, I know you're working on a Compass game project, I think, right now. I don't know if it's active right now, if you've effectively started. I know we've sort of teamed you up with the person involved in the project. So I don't know if you can maybe, by way of introduction, let people know what you're actually doing for Compass right now.
Sure. You can hear me, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and I can screen share because I've got screen sharing on. All right.
Absolutely. And then people are excited to see you on here. Getting Jack Green is saying hello to you here.
Hi,
Lots
Jack.
of projects. Absolutely. And then, and the same for John Sy. Obviously for John, there's a lot of people welcoming you. So go ahead and add your screen and we can screen share. I don't see your screen right now at all. You have to probably go back to screen share and bring it back.
Okay, let's see.
If you hit on the screen share button,
screen.
we can bring it back up because I've got the little backstage pass and I can see there's no screen option right now showing up anywhere.
Let's see. Which ones do I want to do? Okay.
Well, you got 5 minutes, so you can do a tease. You can be a regular if you want.
Well, you can see all this, right?
All right, so here we go. How's this? There you go. It's showing now. So
Except that's not the stuff.
That's not the one. So should I hide it? I can remove it. I'll keep it up until you see the one you want.
Don't hide it. Okay, so just to fill people in, I've signed a contract with Bill to redo all the graphics for the GDW Road to the Rhine game, which was one of my favorites back in the day.
Oh, wow, crowd's going crazy.
Yeah, and Greg Warren is the developer point of contact for me through Compass in doing
Greg
this.
Warren, who did the Third World War series with a bunch of other project team members, but Greg played an integral role in the Third World War series project for us, and now he's doing Road to the Rhine with you, so that's awesome.
So let's see. Okay, so this was the original South map for Road to the Rhine.
The one with the textures on it?
No. Let's see.
Okay, that's the one that's showing. There's one showing it's like a relief map.
Okay,
there's a relief map showing. There we go. Yep,
right.
There you got it now. Perfect.
So this is the South map, and what Greg is wanting to do, we're not going to make. They're going to be very minimal game changes to this game. It's going to be practically a straight reprint, but Greg has instructed me, and we decided to take off this chart right here.
Yeah.
And we're going to fill this area in with map, actual geography. I don't know that much is going to happen on it, just like much doesn't really happen over here.
Right. Because it might be more of a spatial thing. That's, without units really being there, just more of a spatial geography representation, but no game effects, right? Right.
Because the real object of the game, of course, is to cross the Rhine, this area here. And once you break across it, you're pretty close to figuring out who has won or who has lost. But we're taking this off. We're taking this off. This map, and then also, let's see, is it this one? Yeah. The North map will be joined together.
Yep. There we go. Yep, I see.
And we're going to print this out on, let's see if I've got on
It's going to be 2 full-size maps, you think, in the end?
So what you're seeing here, you can see that.
Oh, there you go. Yep, that's that's both together there. Yep.
Right. That's going to be 2 22 by 34s. One here.
Yep.
Put together with tracks and tables as we need them on the white blank spots.
Yep. Perfect.
And of course, the idea is to make this map graphically into the bring it into the 21st century, but not overdo it. Nothing.
Yeah, sure.
No crazy graphics.
Right.
But something a little more evocative of Northwest ETO. So that's what the map layout's going to basically be.
Do you have any thoughts of what approach? Because I know you've done I know you've done a ton of Eastern Front maps, and I'm sure you've done a lot of maps for this area as well. But do you have a certain approach, or are you thinking about color tones already, tonal quality, or
I started to play with textures, but let's see, I haven't. Let's see, where the hell is it? To open, just to give you an idea of some of the other stuff I've done lately, and
that'd be great. Yeah, there's your artwork. Yeah, besides your designs.
This will give you an idea of where are they? Of the kind of textures I'm doing now. Although Oh, what is this? Maybe I can rasterize that.
No problem if you can't find it, or I don't want to create any
won't
problems for you.
Yeah.
Well, we can definitely preview the updated maps as we get there for sure. Anyway,
Right.
so that's not a problem.
This will show you.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. Oh, wow.
These are the kind of textures I'm using for
that's
for
awesome.
Goss. And over the Rhine, I mean, Race to the Rhine would be something like this, although this is at a higher scale than the other one is. But for instance, I actually took the 1943-44 GS maps.
Yeah, you can see all that, all the textures and patterns, all the GS information in there. That's amazing.
Yeah, so for Polder, I actually
the
real map behind it because I could. So you're looking at something like this for Road to the Rhine, this style.
That's gonna be great. That's awesome.
So
that'll be great.
So you can imagine in here now they genericized their rough terrain. This stuff here.
Yeah, probably simplified. They just went with for one type of terrain value versus 3 or 4 different types, right?
Right. So I'm going to try to create a mix that it's all just rough terrain no matter what it is.
Yep.
But I'll try to make something that's more evocative of that. I think this was just the flooded area up here, this light blue. So so that's Road to the Rhine, and
that's awesome.
I'll be starting that Monday because, as I told you in the side emails, Bill completed all the steps he needed for me to start.
Yeah, no, we're excited. We're excited for it. And I know Greg Warren's excited, who's been working on getting the rule. He's got the rules updated and he's gone through. So everybody knows we're not looking to change the game for game's sake. It's really about just getting the errata incorporated into the game, adjusting to a rules case format to make it easier to look up things, obviously. So we can have a rules index, and just it's a better way to present rules than just paragraph style without any rules case numbers whatsoever. So all that work's already been done. And I'd have to check with Greg. I know Greg was going to try to see if there were any variant scenarios or anything maybe done post publication from GDW that we can add as a bonus, but I have to double check that. But I just want everybody to rest assured we're not coming in and just like rethinking the whole design and messing with it. We know there's a lot of fans. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask earlier, I forgot to do that. If anybody's played Road to the Rhine, or if you just own the game, I'd be curious if you have a copy of GDW's Road to the Rhine. I mean, it came out, I think, in the 80s. I'm guessing early 80s, maybe. That's a guess. But if anybody owns the game or has played it, be interesting to know that. But we're really excited. Road to the Rhine scored, I believe it was either number 2 or number 3 in our GDW game survey, as far as games they'd like to see done by Compass. And we've secured 12 titles from GDW so far. And we'll be doing others, including science fiction games. I know Belter's been asked for a few times. But Road to the Rhine scored definitely top 3. And Jim here, I'll post his comment. He's owned and played the game, and he says it's a lot of fun. So I think what's going to be nice here is the rules are getting enhanced, the map, all the counters, the whole artwork is getting redone. Brought to 21st century, as you said, Joe. So I think it's going to be a real nice product.
Yeah, one thing to mention here is we're going to blow the map up a little bit, and in doing so, that black square you see now is the size of a 9/16 inch counter, not a half
perfect.
inch.
So perfect.
We're
I'm not
gonna
gonna.
we're going to have larger than you're going to go to the medium-sized 9/16 inch counters, which will, and the stacking isn't high in this game, so. This may look a little tight. It actually isn't, because I can blow these.
Yeah, if you put another counter in there, they won't touch at all because there's going to be a gap where the lines are. So that's going to be easy to, even a fat finger situation without tweezers should be able to handle something like that, because the stacks aren't that big, as you said.
Right, and the unit IDs will be easy to read. Unit type boxes will be a little bigger. So this should facilitate play in an easier manner.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And then I know you're doing the counters, and one thing I'll check with Greg again is I always like getting mnemonics added to a game to help facilitate play. That's why there's like 200 new markers in the Third World War series game. We added a bunch of markers because people wanted to have make it easier to play the game, to remember certain housekeeping. So I will check with Greg Warren about, is there anything where we could add markers to the game to like note unit conditions or geography conditions. I haven't had that conversation with him yet. I've left him alone while he's been doing research, but we'll definitely look for ways to enhance gameplay experience for Road to the Rhine.
And this is interesting, not to steal Bill's thunder, because they're going to be 2 differently scaled games. Obviously, Bill's games under the Southern Cross is a nice, highly detailed. I've seen it at Expo, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
But I've been working with Marty Anderson, who did the Med War for Hobby Japan.
Oh, okay.
And he's moving that system to, what a coincidence, to
Yeah.
Central,
Never
Central
happens
South
in the hobby.
Pacific.
2 games on the same topic. How's that possible?
And this is 40, I believe this is 40 miles to the hex, and it'll be 2-week turns, and it'll basically use the system, as I said, he used for Med War. Now, it'll definitely be...
it's a single map, right?
Oh, yeah. It's basically a single map.
Yeah.
And Marty did To the Far Shore. He did Med Fleet. So he's got a number of games
Okay, cool.
that he's been doing. So I talked to him last night about this, and who knows? I mean, he may even offer it up to Compass to do once it's done.
Oh, I thought it was with somebody already.
No, it's not.
Oh,
right
that's dangerous. That's dangerous if you mention a game like in a thing. You're playing with fire, Joe, here, because I love Pacific games, and I also love North Africa. Yeah, I like all games, but yeah, I mean that's one thing. So that's one thing that's nice about Compass, which I don't know. I don't want to speak for other publishers, but Bill's made it very clear to me. Yeah. He thinks it's great if we have multiple games on the same topic, and it happened recently. We had 5 or 6 World War I strategic level games, sort of just around at the same time. Lamps and Greg's game, and just a bunch. And we want to play homage to every designer's effort. It's a different effort. It's a completely different system. Yeah, sure. Maybe the topic's the same, but people here probably say, yeah, I'd like to have multiple games on the same topic. Hello, Battle of the Bulge, right?
Exactly.
Or Waterloo or Gettysburg.
Well,
right?
and this is a topic that at this scale that hasn't done a lot by anybody. So
yeah, and there's not a ton of is it safe to say, okay, there's Flat Top, there's CV, there's a few others, but I don't think there's like a ton of games that are like this single map. I mean, and that's another thing. It's a single map, and compared to Bill's, what was the new game series called? Hernia. I forgot the name. The acronym. Hernia driven system, right?
Yeah.
Or series. Yeah. So this game you've presented is Let me know offline about that. So
will do.
So I don't want people to beat me up here on. Looks like we'd love to welcome that designer to the Compass fold, as the saying goes. But I'm excited about Third World War series for sure, absolutely. And guys, I want to thank you for being our official VIP guest for tonight, May 26th. It was great having you on. I've talked to you both so much, and you've been staples of the community and the hobby for so long. So it's great for others to get to chat with you, or just.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Quick, sorry.
Sure thing.
My friend Larry Nicastro is looking for a reprint of Bataan, but I know that you guys don't have no plans to reprint it, and that's fine. But my question is what happens to that intellectual property that you guys have? So you have.
Oh yeah, sure. That's a good question.
Does that just sit? Does that just sit?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I want to thank Joe Youst again, who has left us, but it was great having Joe Youst on tonight. Thanks, Joe. So typical. I would have to see the specifics because this is far before I joined Compass, but it's pretty standard in the industry. That unless you're an employee of the company, if you're an employee of Compass Games, which again, as I talked to Brittany about, we're a very small team. I'm not even an employee, right? So we're a very small team. It's Bill and family, and that's pretty much it. So if you're an employee of a company, typically whenever you work for a company, the company owns it outright, period. But like most cases in our hobby, and this is the general rule of thumb in our hobby, except for maybe SPI, is that if you're a contractor, like a designer, like I did, like somebody did Bataan, right? The contract's basically going to have a stipulation that, okay, XYZ publisher owns the rights to the game, has the copyright until the game is sold out, plus maybe 3 to 4 years after. So there's time to decide if there's going to be a reprint. But short answer to your question is, if Bill's not considering a reprint at some point, then there's most likely a clause that can kick in where the rights to the design go back to the designer, and that designer can then decide to work with a publisher to get it published, like a new edition or whatever they want to do with it. But that's pretty standard. Like that's standard. That's not something specific to Compass. I think everybody has boilerplate. We get the rights for a few years. We have to, no pressure on us. We got to sell it out first. Then we still hold the rights after that to decide what we want to do. But then there is a release clause. if that makes sense.
Thank you.
And I can't remember who the designer was of Baton. Was
Vance
it?
Von Boris.
Oh, Vance. Okay, well, I talk to Vance all the time, actually. So that actually, with Vance, I believe I'd have to check. It might be free and clear already for Vance. I have to double check. I've talked to Vance, which is why it came up about Baton. Vance, we've talked to Bill about it, and that's where the decision came down for Baton for Compass, that it took too long for the first run to sell out. That's really the big problem here. So if you think about it, it's very hard from an economic business standpoint, and Bill is all business, right? He wants to make sure things are healthy.
Totally understandable.
Like if it takes 5 to 10 years to sell out of a run, how do I justify the upfront cost if it's sat that long? That was the challenge. But some games get renewed interest. Some games might be sleepers, and maybe something happens, and all of a sudden it's a hot item. So that can happen. That can happen for sure. But the good news is Vance, if he doesn't already, the rights probably, I'm sure, go back to Vance at some point. So if somebody can't find the game on the open market, resale market, hopefully somebody will publish a version of Baton like the one you like. So, but great question. No, thanks for that question, because I think it's good to talk about just general industry stuff. So,
thank you.
With that, John, I want to thank you for joining us so much. I'm going to let you go if that's okay. Thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to talk with you tonight. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight for this episode of Compass Games Live. Just a reminder, next Thursday night, we'll be live with Bill Thomas for our next town hall session. And we definitely look forward to speaking to you then. So in the meantime, I want to wish you a good rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And I'll be back with you next Thursday night for our next town hall session with Bill Thomas. Thank you so much, everybody, and good night. Bye-bye.